This is December 18th, 2012. My name is Roxanne Grinage. I'm the grandmother of Ezekiel and Ariel Brown that everybody hears me talk about. And the reason I do these videos is because I'm hoping that one day they'll come upon them and find them and learn the truth about who they are, their heritage, the strength, the learning of their family. Okay, so this is a kind of a year-end. I'm not speaking to federal crime victims as much as I'm speaking to prospective employers. As you know, I was thrust into trying to figure out the industry components, what was driving this kidnap for profit thing back in 2009 when I was victimized in Philadelphia Family Court. However, I applied the same legal secretary, executive legal assistant, public relations, human resources assistant knowledge that I had working for 26 years to this industry, and found out to this phenomenon, kidnap for profit, and found out that individual accountability is in fact measurable if you can develop the right administrative tools, if you could develop the right forms that gather the right components of information if you could provide standard presentation for the claimant, many times a federal crime victim, and ruling out whether or not they have official corruption, fraud, and civil rights claims, or ruling out whether or not their claims are in fact verifiable. And once verified, what are the appropriate referral venues? Is it a federal court lawsuit? What's the nature of the lawsuit? Is it civil rights? Is it personal injury? What's the cause of action? Was it because somebody committed perjury early on at the state court level, which caused the state court to malpractice legally? Or was it RICO? Was it racketeering, and somebody was intentionally embezzling and defrauding Children's Protective Services federal and taxpayer funding? So the administrative solution tool that I came up with and I demonstrated in the last couple of years is I call it the U.S. Citizens Controlled Public Docket Database, which is nothing more than the front desk legal secretary who's sitting there at a virtual office where presentation can occur through the internet technologies. Email, forms, response forms, networking, social networking sites, digital telephone calls, where you plug in the presentation characteristics of the claimant, you follow through with the forms or the contract or the authorizations needed to act on their behalf, including disclaimers that you're not an attorney, you do not practice law, you don't give anybody legal advice, you're only gathering this information, but you get their authorization to refer what you do verify with the evidence gathering, the depositions, witness and expert witness testimony. You get the authorization to forward it to either prosecutors, funding decision makers, U.S. Senate, prepare their their documents needed for them to file pro se on their own behalf that are court compliant with the existing state's official court website forms and the federal website forms. So anyway, I just wanted to tell everybody Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, but most of all, peace on earth. And this is pretty much the end of one thing for me, one commitment to, I believe that I've done all that I can do to document the characteristics of the federal crime victim claimant who is also a voter, having special voter constituency power and special voter constituency needs, who is also a U.S. economy careers contributor, which impacts whether or not our economy can recover, will be reformed, or whether or not we will be able to innovate economy, education, judicial accountability, prison, and public safety reform. The federal crime victim claimant spans every population, every demographic, anything that you can measure, age, race, where they hail from geographically on the planet, religion, Okay, and lifestyle, either chosen lifestyle or imposed upon lifestyle. Incarcerated people that are not counted in many of our statistics. They're not counted in the unemployment statistics. They're not counted in our missing voters, and they're certainly not counted in our missing career contributions. And we have many accomplishments in terms of developing administrative solutions tools. I guess I should read them. The habeas corpus, the habeas corpus applied to not an incarcerated inmate, but a child in the custody of a CPS-funded Department of Human Services agency where the malpractice of the employee misconduct is causing injury to the child, either through forced psychotropic chemicals, unauthorized chemicals, unauthorized by the parent, the natural parents, or the grandparents, or there are many foster parents too, by the way, who are good people who care what happens to their children as well. So we realize that the habeas corpus can actually be used when there's a state law, like in the case of Michigan, the Amber law, which says that any child removed for any reason by CPS must be placed with a willing and able relative. Rehab and her husband Amir went through 17 years of pure hell. They're losing one child through an accidental death, being blamed for that child's accidental death, to have their other children removed, all small little children, to be severely abused mentally and emotionally and physically because of a different, because they had no control over whether or not they were going into households that were even of the same faith or having the same principles or the same values. And these children were so badly mentally abused, told they were going to go to hell because they were Arabic or Muslim, and this has just got to stop. It's got the parent alienation, children not knowing who they are, is an abomination on heritage. It's another way to continue slavery, and it's the same tactic that was perpetrated on the people of Africa, who were taken and sent to Gorée Island and immediately told they couldn't speak in their own language, and if they survived the trip over here in the horrible conditions, they weren't able to speak their own language and had to learn. They weren't allowed to read or write and pass on the knowledge and learning of who they were to each other. So when a person doesn't know who they are, we are literally a victim. We're literally a stranger in a hostile land. We don't know what's going on. So the systems and processes that other people had the benefit of controlling evolved without our input, but it did. They were built on our work. They were built on our sacrifice. Our careers contributions are missing that would enrich U.S. economy into medicine, healthcare, science, technology, space travel are missing because we were injured before we got to kindergarten, emotionally, mentally, or through separation trauma. Even if we weren't physically abused in our home, there's a table of child maltreatment organization, which actually does a table for what jury trials are supposed to consider as monetary compensation damages for the type of child maltreatment, and it's not always bumps and bruises. Many times it's mental cruelty, separation from the other parent. It doesn't matter who is doing it, what side of the family is doing it, keeping one parent away from the other parent without just cause. If it's truly not protecting the child, then the child is deficient, that part of them, that knowledge of them. And of course there's the machinery that benefits by that, by the billing, the court dates, the behavioral health specialists, the bonding evaluations, and it's the systematic evolution of these processes as they're showing up, especially in custody, divorce, and domestic relations. Is literally a perversion of our justice system and our laws. It's a perversion of someone taking over, going rogue style, an out of control machine where the individual easily sidesteps accountability if they act under the cloak of immunity of that machine. So my administrative solutions tool, HireLyrics Administrative Services Administrative Solutions Tool for innovating enrichment of U.S. economy, education, judicial accountability, prison and public safety reform. What it does is it says, no, we can actually plug in the incident reporting once verified as it's reported to measure individual accountability. Some people were willful, some judiciary were neglectful, some attorneys were conflict of interest, some attorneys had outright attorney misconduct. Sometimes it was a matter of educating the pro se litigant who could not afford an attorney to their obligations. They didn't even know that there was an official court website, a friend of the court, or forms that they could utilize for themselves on their own behalf. And this is why we did a lot of work on this, and 11 new laws were born from this U.S. Citizens Control Public Docket Database. 11 new proposed laws that, if they were put in place, build on beloved former Senator Nancy Schaefer's work. God bless you, Senator Nancy Schaefer, and your husband Bruce. It actually builds on what she started, what she exposed, the billing agenda, the industry-related components of Children's Protective Services as an entity that provides these incredible incentives for telling lies, for financial incentives for social workers to say, I couldn't find anyone that wasn't reported to the Child Abuse Registry for to place the child, and that's why I had to put it with a billing foster care agency, and then let the 22 months click off. The child, the behavioral health specialist said, well, now the child will be traumatized to go back to their natural family because they don't know them anymore, because there was a corrupt judge who said no contact. And so anyway, I'm going to end right here, and I think I'll do another video that talks about our administrative solutions. You can contact me. I'm Roxanne Grinage. I'm a legal assistant, marketing, careers, project manager, project consultant, and in this new year I'll be committed to looking for full-time permanent employee status instead of working as a consultant for myself. Roxanne Grinage, doing business as HireLyrics Administrative Services. I'll be looking for a home with a conscientious law firm, investment banking firm, or criminal justice. And I'm also thinking about taking a course, going back to school and taking a course, getting a degree that would enable me to become eventually a clerk of court, to work in the courts, where the record keeping is actually kept, and maybe I can do some good there, okay? God bless everyone. This is Roxanne Grinage. I'm Ezekiel and Ariel's grandmother. Merry Christmas, Ezekiel and Ariel. Your grandma loves you so much. And I know you're going to see this one day. God bless you.